Yes. The power of you. Let's not forget. You may not have the confidence, but it doesn't mean you're any less. Cause you know what it means to have a growth mindset. If you want to learn something new, you can't let the fear of failure stop you. Have a growth mindset when you begin, and you'll be willing to see it through to the end. When you have a growth mindset, being successful will become a safe bet. The power of yet allows you to admit it's okay to fail, you'll get up and learn from it. Success comes to those who work hard, and those who don't let failure become a scar. Have a growth mindset, the power of yet. Watch all your goals eventually get met. And I don't know yet, and I can't do it yet. I'm not good at this. Yes. The power of you. Let's not forget. You may not have the confidence, but it doesn't mean you're any less. Cause you know what it means to have a growth mindset. If you want to learn something new, you can't let the fear of failure stop you. Have a growth mindset.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening in Erbil, maybe good morning in the United States of America and in other places of the world. So nice to meet you again on another Saturday night here in Erbil, Kurdistan, the capital of Iraq. The capital of Erbil is the capital of Kurdistan region, and Kurdistan is considered to be the second capital of Iraq. Um, though we consider ourselves an independent state, it is in the heart of every Kurd all over the world. Uh, as you know, Megamind Plus Academy is working on three different areas, and they are education, training, and consultancy. And every Saturday night, we invite somebody who has worked in one of these three fields. For tonight, we are lucky and privileged to be with Dr. Jessica Ashe, Mindset News founder and teaching experienced people, experienced staff member at different universities. She has been teaching international students on how to become their best selves for 6 years at Miami University in Ohio State in the United States of America. And she has started and founded Mindset News during COVID time in order to inspire youth around the world to continue their education despite the chaos that we all went through. Her research that uncovered the base purposes of any curriculum was presented at Al Amid International Research Center in Karbala, Iraq, and it was published in their peer reviewed journal later on. Co-rising, the belief that all countries must rise together, is her core philosophy, and she's working very hard on it. And I'm aware that she has worked with the youth from different continents and different countries. Um, and we also comment on her hard work and seriousness. In order to do that, she thinks that we need to be different and together. um, I am aware of Dr. Jessica's background also. She has visited Kurdistan Region Salahuddin University in 2012, and she is very cooperative and supportive for the teaching staff and for the youth and people in the developing countries also. And I thought that uh, participating with her interesting topic about uh, mind growth mindset, and especially growth mindset, it would be very interesting for people in our country. Even though in the registration forms we see that most people are from Kurdistan of Iraq, but there are people from other cities of Iraq. There are people from Iran. There are people from Norway, and people from Nigeria also have joined us. So it would be a good mix of all the cultures, and it would be very interesting to hear to do what Dr. Jessica is going to say about growth mindset and how we can unleash our inner lifelong learners inside us. A couple of housekeeping stuff. First, kindly stop writing your names in the chat box, because those who have registered, we have your records, and those who could not for any reason, later on we can send you the link to the registration form and uh, register yourself. Second, Dr. Jessica has no PowerPoint slides. She will be talking live to you, which will be very interesting, and it will be more engaging and more interactive. Usually we give 40 to 50 minutes to the key speaker, and then there will be questions and answers at the end. But I will give the floor to Dr. Jessica, and she will choose the best way possible for her presentation with us. Thank you very much, Dr. Jessica, for your time. I know the time difference. I know it is the morning there, and maybe it's a rush hour with you, but thank you for accepting our invitation. And we are very eager and curious to hear what you are going to say. Dr. Jessica, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Himdad. It's always a joy to work with you. And thank you for sending those pictures of 2012 when I was with you and your family. Brings back wonderful memories. Thank you for the wonderful invitation. It is late morning here, 11:30 a.m., so it's not inconvenient at all. And I want to start today by acknowledging all of your bravery. So in life, we don't control some things, like a pandemic, say. We have no power over it. And what we do control are our own personal actions. And I don't have a blanket kind of optimism. I don't just say, oh, everything is happy all the time, but I am optimistic. And I call this optimism the art of possibility. And actually, I'm borrowing it from someone named Benjamin Zander, who wrote about it. And the point is, if we focus on things that we don't control, we don't feel good about ourselves, and we don't feel good about our life. But if we focus on what we do control, and all of you showed up today, then we're happier, we're more content. And so we're not focusing on, we're not saying that everything is fabulous out in the world, but what we are saying is, because of the chaos, because of the real fear that is out there, show up where you can. And each one of you today has done that. So I'm giving you all a round of applause, because you're taking the first step in unleashing your creativity by being here. And I'll tell you the opposite of that. And I encourage you to influence every student and teacher in your world. I have some students who say, I'm going to take a year off because of COVID. Why? What else do you have to do? Are you going to go on a world voyage? Or can you just show up in Zoom and make your life better? So please influence everyone, all of your friends and surroundings, to show up, because that's what you control and that's what you can do. So thank you all for being here. Next, I wanted to go in briefly, talk about how I am inspired in particular by the people in Iraq and Kurdistan in particular, because you have been through so much war and strife and sadness has happened in your past. And you are so strong. I may not know some of you personally, but some of my very good friends like Alan Anwar are out there. And I know the things that she has overcome in her past. And each one of you has such a great inner strength that, to be frank, many rich people around the world and many Americans don't have that inner strength because they've never overcome anything. But each of you in the audience knows that you have overcome possible tragedies, horrors. You've overcome it. And so what that means is that you are resilient. You have resilience. You don't need to go get it. It's already inside of you. All you have to do is find it. And so I really love working with people in Erbil. I have a lot of friends in Erbil because of that focus on overcoming and the great inner desire to build your region of the world to become prosperous, to be prosperous. So another congratulations on your resilience. Now we're going to move into education or creativity for today. And the first part of that is to tell you that this is student-centered. I know that many of you are used to PowerPoints. And you sit there and you look at the PowerPoint and you go, You're looking at a PowerPoint and you're just, maybe you're taking notes. I never teach like that, ever. I teach student-centered. What that means is I don't need to struggle with the information. I'm really not the person in this room who needs to be speaking English. It's you who needs to be speaking English and to be using and struggling with this information. So what I really want is to see a bunch of faces out there. I should have, Himdad, can you influence people to turn their cameras on? I need to look at humans. I'm teaching people today. Thank you, Bandar. So happy to see that.
That's very good. That's very good. Kindly, those who are, I mean, in a place where they can We want you to open your videos for Dr. Jessica, because that would be more interactive and more human to human, not human to pictures.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. I know my friend
Yes,
Glenn is out there. I
Rahman is
want to
done.
see Glenn's
Others will do
face.
it in a minute. Dr. Abdurrahman from University of Sudan, thank you.
There's
Sirwan
Glenn.
Hussein,
Hello,
thanks.
Abdulrahman.
Ahmed,
Ahmed!
Ahmed Abba from Nigeria, thanks for joining us.
I'm so glad to see you, my son.
Yeah. Dr. Glenn Chapman, nice to meet you. Thank you for opening the video.
Yeah.
Others,
Glenn is-
please. Okay.
Yes. So we will continue, and I'll tell you that. So I'm so happy to see there's Sirwan Hussein Ahmad. Thank you, Sirwan. You're muted, Sirwan. I'd love for you to say hello.
Sirwan, do you want to say hello?
I think he's saying no, he doesn't want to say hello. He's
Okay,
going to get
no problem. Later on, we will give them chance to talk.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Alan, for making that note. So I will continue. And
Jamal from
Ardalan,
University of Sulaimania, Ardalan Salim, thank you for joining us.
yes. And a word about Ahmed Abba Umar. He's the head of an NGO in Nigeria, and he does amazing things in his community. He helps all of the children, orphans. He works tirelessly on education with children with no resources. This is a man who embodies creative problem solving. When I first met him several months ago, I did an interview because he said, you know what, the children needed masks here. And I just went out and I went to a mask place and I said, I'm working with orphans. Give me masks for the lowest price you can give me. And they did. And then he went to a place and said, okay, I need the label of my NGO on this mask. I need the cheapest price because I don't have any money. And they did it. And then he went around to hundreds of schools and delivered masks. Did anybody ask him to do that? No.
No?
He had literally zero resources. He had his brain and he had his desire to help his community, and he made it happen. Hello, Himdad. So nice to see you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm so happy to see in all these faces. This makes it real for me. Karim Jamal, thank you for joining. And iPhone Phone Gala.
Gala, yeah. Mamusta Gala.
Okay,
Mr.
four faces.
Sardan, Mr. Bahman from Norway. Thank you for joining us. Mr.
From
Clark,
Norway.
also.
Wow, how exciting. Yeah, so the faces really help personalize this. And so thank you all. And I know that some of you can't, that's fine. One of the aspects of the research, and the reason I did the research about curriculum, is that it showed the purposes of a curriculum are to instill, yes, content knowledge, math, history into people, but it's not just the content knowledge. It's also the idea that these people can solve problems creatively. And there are all of these pictures in the research of children doing things. And I use those very, very simple, but when students study physics, yes, they do the book work, but then their test is they have to create a perpetual motion machine out of whatever they have in their house. I think Himdad's heard me talk about this before. So using old tennis rackets or old pipes, whatever's lying around, they make a motion machine. And so these are the students enacting the knowledge of physics, which is where it's all about. And that's what builds confidence in any subject. And so Student-centered means I want you guys working with me, and your feedback is very important for all of this. And today's subject is creativity. In that light, our first activity is going to be, so when people think about creativity, I want to ask you guys, what do you think of? Do you think of a painting? Do you think of architecture? Anybody, raise your hand or just unmute yourself. What do you think of when you think of creativity?
Those who want to talk, you can raise your hand with the reactions, and then we can unmute you, because usually the Zoom meetings will unmute people and we give them permission to talk. So,
Glenn Chapman, what would you like to say?
Glenn?
Unmute yourself, Glenn. Okay. Glenn, you're muted.
Mr. Shamal, can you? Just a minute. Yes.
I'm asking him to unmute. Okay, go ahead, Glenn.
I am unmuted.
Congratulations.
I am able to speak. Hey,
Yeah,
when it comes to creativity, I think of problem solving. So when we have a problem in the world, or when we are faced with problems in our life, how do we actually approach the problem? And in these times of woe and want during the coronavirus, we have to be creative in order to solve the problems within our communities. Since I'm unable to travel, I'm unable to move around the world, how do I bring curricula to non-English speaking countries when I am an English teacher? So when I think of creativity, I think of problem solving.
Thank you, Glenn. Do you want to tell people where you most recently taught?
Yes, that'd be great. I was the director of preparatory English at the University of Duhok in northern Kurdistan. I had a fabulous time while I was in Kurdistan. I have never been treated more kindly. I know what a movie star feels like because everyone was so friendly and so kind to me while I was in Kurdistan. And I've been to Erbil a couple of times, but most of my time was spent in Duhok. But I have also been to the southern part of Iraq when I was in outside of Basra. And don't tell any of the friends that you might have in Basra, but I preferred Kurdistan.
Ah.
Already, because it's going live.
And I think it's recorded on Megamind, right?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, trouble,
We will
Glenn.
talk to you, Glenn, after the meeting, and we will figure out something. If we reach an agreement, then we can skip it.
Fantastic.
Okay. So I'm copying some information now. Okay, I'm back. So today, each person has an innate sense of curiosity. It's how humans are designed. So, you know, like I'm doing a session later on innovation. And a lot of people think, oh, entrepreneurs, those people over there, those entrepreneurs, they have something I don't. Well, they don't have something that you don't have. Ahmed Abba Umar is entrepreneurial in his town. And each person, so my first degree is in anthropology. And when I think about human behavior, I go back to my roots of anthropology. And we're all designed naturally to try to solve problems. And fortunately, some educational systems squash that out of us. I work with thousands of students in China, and their parents are wonderful people who've been trying to work hard for their future. But the parents have handed them stacks of books since they were tiny and said, go into your room and read these and learn. That's not how 9-year-olds learn, or 10 or 11-year-olds. How many people out there have kids? Who out there has children? Yes, Jamal, Bandar, Himdad, Maskuda. I hope I'm saying that right. Okay, so anybody who has a child knows that the natural state of a child is doing things. You can't even stop them. The only thing you can try to do is help them to not kill themselves by accident when they're little. And my son, who's now thankfully 24, and we found a great avenue for him. Before he was 3, he had stitches in his head 3 times. When he was 7, he broke the same toe twice on the same pipe playing soccer in a field. Like, it was all I could do to get this kid to not accidentally fall off of a cliff, which he almost did that too, but I grabbed him by the neck of his shirt and prevented him from accidentally falling off a cliff. So anyway, children are active. Fostering that, nurturing that is how they become competent adults. And now each kid is different, but at the core, so each outlet is different. And when I had children, I thought, if I find the sport that they like, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Because if I find their sport, that's what I did. I was a gymnast. I love gymnastics. And as long as I was in a gym, I was happy. And I have a saying that comes from that: spend money and time, your personal time with them when they're young. Otherwise, when they're young, and spend it proactively and productively. Otherwise, on the back end in the US, you'll have to spend negative time with them getting them out of prison or something. I mean, they need to be guided. And so a part of, I have a doctorate degree in literacy. So obviously I love books and I love literacy, but humans learn by making mistakes. Let your children make mistakes. It's so good for them. Muskuda is nodding. And this is a part of creativity. So I'll say it briefly. I was not a popular mom because all of the moms were saying, I don't ever want my child to get hurt. And I thought, well, that's kind of stupid because they're going to get hurt. The question is, are they strong enough to deal with it and move on? And so I had this saying that I want my child to fall down one step. And I have a really funny story. When William was 1, and the poor kid is all over the internet, whether he wants it or not. When he was 1, I was making dinner and he had his little cabinet of safe toys in the kitchen so he could be right beside me playing and doing his thing. And I said, hot, don't touch. Immediately, he was curious. And I was like, oh no. And then I got a mean face. Don't touch, hot. And then he was more curious. I was like, oh God. So I'm making dinner, and I'm watching him, and I'm making dinner. And sure enough, I turned around in the fridge. He knew when I wasn't exactly looking at him. And he went, and with one finger, he touched the hot stove. He jumped back, screamed, fell against the cabinets. And he just cried and cried. He had a little blister. And guess what? He never touched the stove again. He had answered his own curiosity. And that's how he learned. As much as I'm an educator and I want to think that everybody learns because I speak, they don't. They learn by making mistakes. So let your children make those mistakes. My daughter fell down one step when she was 2. She never fell down the stairs again. And it pained me, of course, that she was hurt. But I also had confidence that she could go down the stairs or up the stairs without getting hurt from then on. And that's, the nature of raising children, is that letting them make those mistakes in a way that they only get a little bit of pain and they can learn from that mistake. All right, moving on. Does anybody have any comments about that? Anybody want to share any stories about children's curiosity? Glenn's grandson is the epitome of curiosity. Climbs on my tables wonderfully, lovingly, and plays with my dog. Himdad, how old are your kids?
Actually, I have 5, and the youngest, the youngest actually is 13, and the eldest is 23.
Wow. God bless your wife.
Just to let you know that we are streaming live on Facebook also, if you want to share it with you and your colleagues who did not have time to.
Yes, I will.
So for all the people, we are streaming live on Facebook of Megamind Plus Academy. So I think if anyone wants to talk, you can raise your hand, or just we have an icon there, and then we will let you speak. Otherwise, we will let Dr. Jessica go on.
So when we're talking about that natural curiosity and fostering it and protecting it, I often teach with riddles. So I have typed into the chat a series of riddles. And if you guys were in my classroom at the university, I would put you in breakout rooms and you would read these riddles and see if you can find the answers. I think you're not used to that. And so I'm not going to do that right now because I don't think that that's going to work in this environment. But I want you to know that student-centered learning means exactly that. And so when I teach at Miami University, I have 3 sections of a half hour. I speak for 5 minutes, and then I put them in their breakout rooms, and I make them struggle with information. And then they ask me questions. And inevitably, whatever I said in those 5 minutes, somebody wasn't listening, and they have no idea what we're doing. So the longer I talk, the less you listen. I'm not offended by that. It's the nature of human beings. Human beings need to do things. So I will leave us all in one room. Please, I invite all educators to try student-centered learning in your environment. So riddle number 1, I'd love for somebody to read it to me. Himdad, we need your kids here so that they can. Bandar has an answer. What part of a fish weighs the most? What's the answer to, Bandar? Bandar's smiling. Oh, Rusty, hi. Do you want to read the first question? Read the first riddle? Unmute yourself. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
All right, I think I'm unmuted now, right?
Yes, fabulous. Wonderful to hear your voice. Go ahead and read a joke.
The first one, what part of a fish weighs the most?
And do you think you have an answer, Rusty? Or do you think somebody else has typed an answer?
I think it's the head. I'm not sure, I'm just guessing.
And does anybody have a rationale for that one? No? The answer for that one is it's scales.
Oh, sure.
Scales.
True.
Because in this case, it's weighing as a verb, and the scales are doing the weighing. And I teach English with these because it takes these words and it flips the meaning of these words, and students have fun with them. So we've got all kinds of answers out there. I'm really grateful for your participation. Bandar, you typed an answer. Can you unmute yourself and talk to us about this answer. Sometimes it's easier if I ask you to unmute. Bandar, you're walking around. Are you able to unmute? Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. Talk to us.
Yeah, hello, doctor. I read some of the questions and I thought I knew the answer to some of them. So I started from the last one, or the third one from the bottom.
Okay, read that one for me.
Why 6 was afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9.
Yes, very good. And another one? Did you have another one too?
Yeah, I think what letter is an exclamation? I think I.
What
I
letter?
don't know.
Let me see. I've got all the answers. I purposely took off the answers because I wanted you not to have the answers.
Yeah.
And I think I don't have the answers in the right order, which makes it even better. Then we have to think a little bit more. So the question is, what letter is an exclamation? Anybody think they have an answer? Oh! Linguistic jokes. It's oh. Oh, I get it now. Thank you, Bandar. Thank you, Rosti. Who wants to read another riddle and see if they can give us an answer? Or if you read a little, you can put somebody on the spot and say, and ask them to give you the answer. See, student-centered teaching takes some training. But certainly, Hemdan, you could see if I talk all the time, who learns? Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to the answers, and I will put the answers in there. We had its scales. What I'll try to do at first is see if I can ask a few people to unmute. So, Bama, I'm going to put you on the spot. Are you willing to read a riddle and ask somebody what they think the answer is?
Hello, I want to answer this question. How many animals of each species did Moses take aboard the ark with him? I think it was not Moses, it was Noah.
Yes, the answer is none. It was Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And that's creative problem solving right there.
Yeah.
That's the essence of it. And Glenn, go ahead.
And it's very utilitarian, which helps us to think twice. Yeah. Very practical, these type of questions.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes, thanks.
And they're great.
Thanks a bunch for you.
This is how I woke my kids up in the morning. So and if you know they have that curiosity, and how do you foster that curiosity? And I don't know what it's like necessarily in Kurdistan. You parents can tell me, but especially for teenagers in the US, there's a joke about how parents just get out of bed. It's time to go to school. Why don't you get out of bed? Is it like that at all? Like, is it hard to get teenagers out of bed? Or no? Your teenagers love to get out of bed in the morning, Himdan? You're muted, Himdan. That's the statement of COVID. He's trying to unmute. Oh, come on, Megamind. I'm sure he can unmute. So
actually, we don't struggle because they have school. So they mostly do it by themselves, except sometimes when after a long period of lockdown, they started schooling. It was difficult actually, but now they are getting used to it again.
Yeah. So in the US, it's really hard. I mean, they have school at 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning, high schoolers, and it's hard to motivate them. And so what I did, instead of yelling, breakfast is ready, get down here, I took a more active role, and I would put a warm, wet washcloth on their eyes, and I would light incense to wake up their senses.
Mhm.
And I would say really corny jokes like, Glenn, knock, knock, unmute. Come on, Glenn, unmute.
You give them
No,
permission actually,
I
because
have
you're
to give
close.
permission. Oh, wow. Okay, go ahead, Glenn. I gave you permission. Knock,
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 knock. There.
Who's there?
gorilla.
Gorilla who?
Grill a cheese sandwich. I'll be right over.
Eh, dad
Yeah,
jokes.
they're bad jokes, but it would wake my kids up with a happier mentality. And it was so easy to find them. So it's, go ahead, Himdad.
Mr. Salam, Dr. Salam Ni'ma raised his hand, so if you
Go ahead.
give him permission to talk,
Yes.
Mr. Kamal or Dr. Jessica, you can unmute him yourself. Dr. Salam Ni'ma Hormuz. I think you know him also. He was not with us, but he is at Saladin University also.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
Hi,
Go ahead.
everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Lama.
Hi, Basima.
Basima.
That's in my mother language, Syriac.
Syriac, yeah.
Really?
Dr. Salam is the head of the Syriac language department at Saladin University.
Amazing.
Congratulations, Dr. Salam. He has been promoted to assistant professor.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Dora. Thank you. I think
fellow
I can answer one of them.
Okay.
I could answer two, but somebody answered the Noah Moses thing. But I can answer the three-letter word would be big, and when we add three more, which is double GER, it will get bigger, correct?
Yes, you're right. Excellent. What is the three-letter word that gets bigger when you add three letters? Yes. Excellent. So as a linguist, you're a linguist, right, Salam?
Yeah, yeah, you could call me so.
Yes. Well, you know as well as I do that you can't learn a language by going, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like you can't just listen to a teacher.
Exactly.
You have to enact that knowledge. You have to embody it. It was funny. I was working with a group of medical doctors and medical doctor students at a university in Iraq. But I talk about student-centered teaching all the time, but I had never done so at a medical school. So I did a lot of research, especially for medical doctors, because medical doctors don't think they need to listen to people like me. And so the research found that at Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Princeton, Oxford in England, every university has switched from lectures to student-centered teaching. So because the students need to practice this information, you can't get in front of a client and say, you have a brain cancer. I mean, you can't do that. You have to practice that language. Go ahead, Salam.
Yeah, I was actually, I wanted to share that probably in our community, the biggest obstacle would be shyness. like students are too shy to speak because they are afraid of making mistakes, and probably sometimes because their classmates would laugh at them when they do that. So yeah, I mean, probably that might be one thing that we all as teachers need to focus on.
Having a safe space for students to make mistakes.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know about you, but I would rather have doctors make mistakes in school than start making mistakes after they graduate.
Yeah, exactly. This
Yeah.
is what I tell them. Yeah, make all your mistakes here. And making mistakes should be normal as a part of the process of learning.
Yeah, so you really understood what I was saying about touch a kid who's curious and wants to touch a hot stove.
Exactly.
And hopefully there's just a little bit of pain and that they learn. So anyway, I was presenting this research, and there are images of world famous medical professors wearing a metallic wig in the middle of the classroom, 60 students. And there's a student at the front of the classroom giving his presentation about why bones break. So in order to create that presentation, the student had to work through all of this textbook material. And he had all of these slides up about why bones get fragile. And the professor is not at the front of the room, the student is. And the student is fielding the questions. And I have image after image of this, and I have source after source of different schools where it's case-based learning, and the teacher is facilitating. It's a simple phrase. Instead of being the sage on the stage, be the guide on the side. And another statement about educators is the only power that we have as educators is through the success of our students. And so what's the best way for your students to succeed is the question. All right, so making mistakes, let them make mistakes. And I said this, and I presented all this research, and then one doctor said, well, we know research tells us that we need to lecture. And the point of that statement is that it's about our mindset. And somebody who has been a medical doctor for 50 years, they just have this mindset of this is the way we do it. And I said, did you not hear the research? Did you not see the research? But that's just a statement that person tells themselves over and over again in their head. And so it's about our mindset.
That's right. We have some answers from the chat box also, Dr. Jessica.
Oh, great. All this.
Yeah, Avesta has written, what do you call a train full of toffee? She says, a choo-choo train.
Oh, wow. I'm going to call my son later, Avesta, and I'm going to tell him that joke. And he is going to grow.
Ratfi says, I figured one out too. Hit me hard and I will crack, but you will never stop me from starting back. What am I? She has written mirror.
You'll never stop me from staring back. Very good. That's another one from Rosti. Rosti, your participation is off the charts. Okay, so we've been talking about fostering curiosity that's natural inside of us. And there are some other aspects to creativity. And the United States doesn't work on a memory basis. We don't memorize a lot of information. That being said, medical doctors and certain professions do have to memorize a lot. Classical musicians memorize the notes, but they have to use that knowledge in a very creative way in order to get that emotion of that piece of music across. So memory does play a role in the creative process. And sorry, I got distracted. Every time I shut my door, my dog opens my door. And so my husband is making, you can hear my husband's noise in the background. Memory does play a role. And so, and to give you the example of like the classical musician needs to know every single note. But if he plays every note like this, he doesn't convey the emotion, and people want to stab themselves in the eyeball because it's so boring. So I have a memory exercise. I want everybody, okay, go ahead, Glenn. While you speak, I'm going to close my door. Hang on. Go ahead, Glenn. Do I have to give you permission? Okay, go ahead.
All right. All right. So can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we do.
When it comes to memorization, most of the areas that we have the greatest respect for, mathematicians and engineers and medical doctors, the real doctors in the world, they go forth and memorize great loads of information. There is no way they can use this information unless they have problems to go out and solve. So when it comes to learning, which is what I am most concerned with, I am concerned not so much with the people that are in this room, that is, people who can engage deeply with the written word, but those who are trying to understand the world around them, that is, my students. I keep telling them, and I try to explain, that the only thing we actually learn in life is language. It is the most difficult thing. We can't memorize it. We can't write it down and then take a test and prove that we can use it. We can do that with a formula in mathematics. We can do that with a history test. We can memorize information, take a test, and get a good grade. When it comes to memorization, it is for a test. The test is for the teacher is for the school, and the school gives someone a piece of paper that says they know something. That is memorizing something. That is not learning anything. Because as we all know, and believe me, I've had plenty of Kurdish students that didn't show up to my class on time, so not all teenage Kurdish students wake up when they're supposed to. I will tell you that when it comes time to learning something, they learn it one week and they forget it the very next week because they have more things to memorize. The only thing we have to learn, the only thing we must learn is language. And language is the only medium through which we can teach anything. So when it comes to physics or math or medicine or engineering or any of those other popular things that people like to be, it starts with me as a language teacher. It starts with us to explain how language is the only thing we learn, and everything else we learn through it. That's why I don't like memorizing.
Thank you for sharing, Glenn.
I'm very passionate about that.
So I hear that I can't see everybody. The screen keeps changing. But Maskuda, you brought one of your children, several. Wonderful. It's so wonderful to see kids with all their natural energy. I just feed off of that energy, those little happy smiles. Do they want to tell one of the riddles? Can they see them in the chat? Show them the riddle and have them tell one? I have to ask you to unmute, I guess. I've asked you to unmute. I think that gives you permission to unmute. Hi, Mohan. So Maskuda.
Maqsuda, yeah, Maqsuda Qadir.
Maqsuda, okay, sorry.
Yes, you can talk if you want, Mr. Maqsuda.
Okay, she's not muted. Go ahead.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. Hello.
Do you want to tell us a riddle?
I know one, actually.
Go ahead.
Okay, girls go to Jupiter. No, wait. Girls go to college to get their knowledge, but boys go to Jupiter to get more stupider.
I hope all the boys can forgive us.
It's okay, no problem, no problem. We
Uh,
We
accept.
are very pleasure to meet with you.
Oh, this is a pleasure for me. I really can't wait till the day that I can come back to
Okay.
Erbil. I just can't wait, really. I want more of that naan and those olives and the hummus. Oh, the great food. Okay, so Bandar, you have your kids too. I think your kid isn't old enough to tell a joke though.
Yes, that's right.
Very cute.
Thank you.
That
Thank you. Thank you for you.
it's a joy, really. Okay, so did Maksuda's children, do you want to tell any more riddles?
Yes. Sidari.
Go ahead.
Mm.
This is for you. This is not for me. This is for you guys. So get the most you can.
درباري joke. يعني What joke? Listen, that's it. Oh, I don't know anymore.
Okay. So
I don't know anymore.
that's okay. All right.
My life is joke. My life is always joke.
Yeah, we can either laugh or cry about COVID, right?
Thank you.
So I want to, if you guys decide that you want to, go ahead.
Go back.
All right, if you have something else to say, let me know.
Well, no, thank you. We don't have anything else to say.
So I want to acknowledge Mohan Ladiri. Welcome. Would you like to say a few words? Introduce yourself. Oh, I have to give you permission.
Permission, mute, yeah, and then.
Go ahead.
Yes. So hello everyone. Hello everyone, my name is Mohan. Well, first of all, I would like to say something about learning. That's actually what I taught my students today about. Learning is not to learn or to compare what you learn between you and what others learn. Learning is to compare who you were before and who are you today and who you probably will be after learning. So that's one of the things I wanted to say. Another thing is I want to give like a kind of charade that act out your brain, and that connects the nerves for more learning. So my charade is, if you have 13 oranges in your right hand and 12 apples in your left hand, what do you have?
A bunch of fruit?
Yeah, it can be true. Do you want my answer? That's what we call acting out your brain.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it might be true too. 2 hands full of fruit.
So
but actually that means you have big hands.
Yes, it does. So I work with Mohan and his students. He's the principal teacher at Ecomod in Algeria. And I'll take a moment. I have said this a little bit. I say it often. Every time I teach in Myanmar or Algeria or Kurdistan, I am so impressed with the abilities of the students. And so I really want to erase any misunderstanding you may have in your head that somehow American students are better than you. They're not. Please, Maksuda, make sure your children know they're brilliant and amazing. And American students have nothing on them. Really, look at that beautiful smile. And the same goes true for Mohan students. They're very engaged, very motivated. When I teach rich kids in China, I often get this look. Anybody who has a teenager knows this look. I mean, isn't that world? I mean, Himdad, are all your kids completely respectful all the time?
Not all the time. That's for sure. This is, as you said, human nature. They
Yeah, so
get
teenagers,
involved, they get their egos boosted and so on. So, but hope thankfully they will come back to track soon.
of course, yes, thank you for saying that. So teenagers are in the process of developing their independence. And as a part of all of that, there's new hormones that are running wild, and this innate need to become independent. They're thinking, I'm not going to do it the way you did it. And that's healthy. But there's a way, I mean, of course it has to be channeled and whatnot. And sometimes they're just rebellious. But so my point is that when I work with privileged students, and these are students that pay tens of thousands of dollars to be in my classroom, I get this. And they're just not motivated. And because they don't have to be, I guess. But it doesn't matter what country you're in. It's very common for wealthy people to not produce anything because they don't have to. But when I'm working with Mohan students, or I mean, look at Maksuda's children. They're like this. They're so excited to pay attention. In Myanmar, I invited Thierry, Dr. Thierry Y from Myanmar. She's amazing. Her students are riveted. They're so motivated to learn. It's very exciting for me. So when I think about co-rising and the idea that all countries have to rise together, it's very real. If one country succeeds and the rest fail, then we all fail. And don't ever think that your students are somehow less than those in the US. That resilience, that willingness to show up and be present, those are keys to success. And with those attitudes, they'll harness that inner sense of curiosity and creativity and do something wonderful with it. And our learning comes from this creativity. So I think we can move on to a different activity. And I was going to run through memory. There is a memory activity. And so, because memory is relevant for people like doctors or anybody, but it's how you use that information. So I'm going to give you a list of 10 items. When I give you this list of 10 items, you're going to imagine them in your brain. You're going to create a picture, like a painting on your wall, or you can create, and once when I was doing this, I created wallpaper. And it was like 10 years ago that I created that image in my head. I still have elements of it. So when you're trying to improve your memory, or in order to use that knowledge with your creativity, create a painting in your head. So right now in your head, everybody should have a blank canvas. They should be in their head looking at a framed painting. The frame can be any way you want it to be. So the first item is chapstick. Chapstick we put on our lips to keep them from getting dry. I would bet you use it a lot in Kurdistan.
Eileen is having one.
Oh, where? I can't see.
Okay.
Somebody has a chapstick. Okay, number one, chapstick. Number two, headphones, a headset. Remember, you're making a picture. Number three,
Okay.
A sterilizing wipe. We use them all the time in COVID. We wipe our surfaces with these every day. So this is item number three. Item number four, we're going to start going faster, is a bumper sticker, a sticker that says leadership looks good on you. That's number five, right? Number six?
4.
That was 4. Okay.
That's 5. Yeah, this one is 5.
This is a chip clip. It's a chip clip from my university. Chip clip. I don't know what you guys call them. If you, maybe you call them something else. So that was number 5, or that was number 6? 5. Thank you, Glenn. Okay. Glenn has co-taught with me for years. Next one is a credit card, bank card. I think I shouldn't show the number. Bank card. Next, paperclip. It's really hard to see, but I do have a paperclip in my hands. It's bent. Paperclip. That number 7, Glenn?
5, 6, 7. Yep.
Okay. Number 8 is a bottle of vitamins. A bottle of vitamins, number 8. Now the kids will remember this one. Number 9 is a puppet of a princess. Glenn knows I teach with puppets all the time. That's number 9. And last but not least, from Istanbul, a little, I call them ramekins. They're tiny bowls that you put sauces in. It's really beautiful. So that's number 10. Maybe you don't call it, do you have a name for it? We call it ramekin. Okay, what's item number 1?
Chapstick.
Okay, and how did you remember that, Himdad?
I saw it in Glenn's hand the first thing. Because I saw it. I heard it and I saw it.
Okay, number 2.
I let others talk. Number 2.
Go ahead, Sirwan. I will.
Sirwan, unmute yourself. I'm asking you.
Yes, sir. It was a headset.
Headset, yes. And
Yes.
Sirwan, do you have number 3?
Sorry?
That's excellent. Did you also have number 3?
I don't remember. Thanks.
Who has?
I focus on one item only.
Okay.
I knew that you wanted to ask us.
What?
When she mentioned the items, I was sure that she will ask us after she finished. So I focused on the second one.
You've said your piece. Thanks for participating. Number 3. Who's got number 3?
From the chat box also are writing.
What him done? Oh,
Yeah, people are writing in the chat box also. Dr. Fatima Rashid Hassan wrote sticker and paperclip. Mohan wrote wiper.
Yes. A sterilizing one.
Your question is about the order also, not only remembering the names.
Right. So the third one was the wipe, the sterilizing wipe. And the 5th one?
5th?
Himdan, did you create a painting in your head, by the way?
Yes, but it's not a complete picture, actually.
Yeah. Did anybody, okay, that's not the next one, Glenn. That's number 5. But
You said number 5.
Well, okay. Well, we skipped one.
Leadership looks good on you?
Yes, the sticker. That was the next one.
Bender has written that in the chat box also.
Oh, I'm glad that you're paying attention to all of this stuff. Okay, then Glenn is poking his face with a chip clip. That's the next one.
Yeah.
Next. Bank card. Thank you, Fatima. And Hua says Miami University or something. Yeah, this one was the chip clip. Yeah. After the bank card, somebody wrote a paper clip, Fatima. So after the bank card came the paper clip. Anybody have the next one? Close. A can, a bottle of vitamins or supplements.
Yeah.
And that's where language gets tricky, because this isn't we would never say a can of vitamins. We would say a bottle. And that's where language really just trips you up. Then the next one, Bandar, do you, I can't see everybody right now.
Yes, Banda, if you want to say. You
There
can
he is.
unmute yourself.
I asked him to unmute.
Yeah, I said puppet, I think, the puppet.
The puppet, yes.
Number 9. Yeah.
And then the last one was the little bowl that I call a ramekin from Istanbul. So beautiful. So if you create a painting of things that you need to memorize, that can help you to use that information creatively when you need to. Now I've got all these items all in front of me. I started by talking about resilience, and I started by talking about how you showed up today. And I want to reiterate that these are natural laws. And just like gravity means that this is going to fall. Gravity doesn't have an emotion about the law. It just is. So natural laws, if we are aligned with them in our brain, then it frees us up to become more creative. And when I talk about the art of possibility from Benjamin Zander, there are hundreds of public speakers, leadership gurus who teach and write books about this, and they make a ton of money talking about a natural law. It's amazing. Not a lot of people need to write books about gravity anymore. We know what gravity is, and we know it works, whether we want it to or not. Especially as we age, gravity really works well on us. But so the first natural law that I'm talking about is, if you focus on things that you don't control, you're not happy, you're sad, you can't be productive, and you don't feel like you can accomplish anything. You have completely disempowered yourself. And you guys showed up today. You are focusing on what you do control. You control being here. That's really all you control, is your work ethic. And if I recall correctly, welcome, Sherwan. It's nice to see your face. If you do what you can and you work hard, when I was in Kurdistan, people worked hard. You're working hard to develop for your family and to develop your region. That's all you own. And I was talking earlier about how some students are saying, I'm going to take a year off because of COVID. Why? What are you going to do in that year off? Nothing. All you have to do is go to Zoom and your life can get better. You can improve your mind and your heart by sitting at a computer. It never got easier. And yeah, thanks for saying that. It is it's a natural law that we can teach our children to focus on what you do control instead of what you don't control. And there are other, a part of that, the opposite of that is learned helplessness. I see a lot of people who, for example, I have an example in my mind, and I'm trying to not say who it is because I don't want her to get mad. But a friend of mine has been on every diet in her life, every single one, starting in the 70s. This diet, this diet, this diet, this diet. And crazy the green pepper diet, every diet. And that person is unhappy and like literally depressed and obese. And I have said, forget the diets. It's really simple. Move physically, because we are not brains in a brain transportation device. Our bodies need to move. And everybody with kids knows that you need to physically move. Go for a walk. If we go for a walk and we're physically active, we're happier. It's very simple. If we go for a walk, we're happier. And if I knew that I could make myself happier by going for a walk, and I could make myself healthier by going for a walk, I would go for a walk. It's that simple. It was 17 degrees below 0 Celsius here yesterday. I went for 2 walks. I put on my snowsuit. Yes, I put on snow pants so that I wouldn't freeze, and I walked. Part of that is that I have a dog and he has to go out. But so we're talking about the natural mental laws. You can be more creative if you go for a walk and use your body. It was funny when I was at Salahuddin, every morning I got up and I went for a run. I was still running back then. And I would get to class and people would be like, you went for a run. Like the whole town knew I had gone for a run, which I thought was really funny. And they were like so shocked. But my students will say, oh, I can't exercise today. So I made a video about me doing little squats and jumping around in my office. You can get your physical exercise anywhere and your body needs it. So, and it can help you be more creative. If you take all of this stuff that you're trying to memorize and you go for a walk, your mind somehow lets it all sink in so that you can use it. There's one other thing that I've been learning about this sticker. Leadership looks good on you. There's an organization, it's out there on LinkedIn. It's called Owning Your Leadership. I used to think that, oh, okay. And we're running out of time, by the way. I have a 1 o'clock. Well, let me finish my thought and I will get back to Bauman brought his kids, that your leadership is your leadership. And I used to think that entrepreneurs were these people over there that had something that I didn't. And when COVID happened, this is another secret to life. When COVID happened, I stopped thinking I needed to be perfect. I felt the need to lead. I felt the need to inspire youth all over the world to continue their education. I have been happy in COVID because of that. And I don't have to be perfect. I have made mistakes today, and I think everyone out there has forgiven me for my mistakes. And use your creativity to lead in your environment. Do not let yourself get overwhelmed by fear. The people who have done the best in COVID are those who simply said, I need to be an educational leader. I need to be a leader right now. Dad has been doing that since the beginning. And I get the shivers because he and I have been collaborating for this past year. And it's been an amazing joy. I am happy and I am leading. And that was my choice in COVID. Don't use a crisis to let yourself get overly depressed. Use what you have in order to overcome. So I can't see Bauman. Oh, there he is. Bauman, you have your kids? I love your children to participate in any way they want.
Yeah. Yes, I have a small kid, my daughter. She is just 6 years old. Yeah.
I'm glad
Here is my daughter. Yeah. She's very intelligent.
Well, if she's your child, she has to be brilliant.
Yeah, she's very intelligent. She can speak English, Norwegian, Kurdish.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a million.
Rusty, do you want to unmute yourself one more time and tell us what you typed?
Rusty?
I want to hear your voice. You have a great voice.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, I'm back again. You talked about Corona situation for, as I got it, getting other accomplishments. So I just wrote that we should all consider the current situation as an opportunity for other accomplishments in our life. So not to be tied down by the current situation and by the coronavirus, but to look for the brighter or a brighter side of it, as having it a chance to maybe read, reach out, use the online platform, and even start an entrepreneurship job, or anything that you might be interested in.
Yes, thank you, Rusty, for saying it.
Sure, welcome.
You saying it is different from me reading it. And
yeah, sure, but I didn't want to interrupt. So whenever something comes up or I want to share a comment, then I think it would be better if I wrote it down.
Yes, perfect. That gave us the opportunity. And so I'll close by saying what Rusty just said in different words. We're not defined by any situation. We are defined by our response to it. And use your creativity to overcome. I am happy to connect with any of you, to teach with you, to work with you, to Rusty, I see an interview on my station with you, if you're open to that.
Good.
So Mindset News has 416,000 subscribers right now, thanks to you. This content is yours. So tell me what you want on Mindset News and it will be there. Glenn has his English lessons up there. Love them. And so I'm happy to, reach out to email me, Rossi, and we'll set it up. Anybody who wants to do an interview, let me know. If you want to do a class, let me know. I have a 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
But does anybody have any last questions?
Okay, see if any hands up, raised. No, I can't see anybody. So we have a couple of minutes. I think Rusty has raised her hand again. Rusty, do you want to say last thing? Okay, Rusty, I'm asking you to unmute now.
Yeah, all right. I'm on mute now. Thank you, Mr. Himdat. Yeah, what I wanted to share as to add a comment is that we should, as teachers working in education, all encourage creativity while teaching, because as we see that the majority of students in our country, and I'm speaking about the Kurdistan of Iraq, are not aware of creativity or even critical thinking. So what I would love to suggest is that we as teachers to encourage creativity and have it taught during our classes, and not only focus on what we need to deliver as teachers, but also what we can do with our students, how we can help them find their creativity, or encourage them to think critically and approach topics or themes from different angles, which I believe is what you also have mentioned at the beginning, that creativity is defining or finding a solution to a problem, but from different ways, or in different ways and from different point of views. And thank you.
Thank you, Rusty. I think Alan has something to say. Alan,
yes.
unmute.
Go ahead, Alan.
Unmute yourself first. I'm asking you. I'm giving permission also.
I met Alan when I was in Kurdistan.
Yes, that's right.
Go ahead,
yeah,
Alan.
You can talk.
You're unmuted. Go ahead. Maybe she's having connectivity issues.
Okay. Until Alan, do you hear us, Mr. Alan? No. Mohan, I think, wants to say something. Yes, Mohan, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hamdad. I'm you, Jessica, for inviting me. I would like also to thank all the audience for letting me intervene in this wonderful session about memorization. And I also really appreciated what Dr. Glenn mentioned about memory, and that what is called learning is learning the language. The insight was really wonderful. What I wanted to add is also this opportunity takes me to other opportunities. I always believe that such opportunities that Dr. Jessica from Miami University, Ohio, is like a wonderful and an amazing thing that I'm just living in my life. And she has conducted me to many opportunities where I met with Kimberly Johnson, an amazing and lovely teacher from Miami University as well, where we conducted many important and amazing sessions with my students. Actually, they were international sessions with students from Poland, from Turkey, from Egypt. It was really wonderful. Another thing I wanted to add, I am actually attending some sessions with the US Embassy here in Nigeria, where we are taught by an American teacher. I just wanted to share, if you just don't mind, I'm going to share my email. We have done an amazing workshop, which is called Passion Bracket. And the Passion Bracket is one of the amazing things that works out, our memories, but also learning. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my email, and I would like, to share this workshop, which is really amazing. And I believe that teachers of language need to, to share, this wonderful workshop that I just did with.
Please, let's be fast. Put your email down there. Let's get going. I have a 1 o'clock.
Good.
I wanted to thank Jessie for inviting me. I know that she has another Zoom meeting to go to, so we should say goodbye to Jessie. Bye, Jessie.
Okay, let me finish it, Glenn. Thank you very much. I know there might be others who wanted to talk, actually, but just because of time. Once again, Dr. Jessica Ashe, Mindset News founder from the United States, I would like to thank you and appreciate the time that you have dedicated for this interesting webinar, very interactive, very engaging, and it was a kind of change because we have got used to slides, PowerPoints, and then traditional ways, but that was something new, and I'm sure that teachers will also take benefit from the style of how to engage their own students. I see a couple of hands. Just because of time, sorry, we cannot take them, but the YouTube channel link is there, the email is there, and we can be also connected and